we are back. This is the second parter to our 2026.14.6.11 release. That with it comes along FSD 14.3.4, and this is my commute back home from work. So let's get into it. So like I mentioned in the prior video, went ahead and split these videos up for length, right? A little lengthy. I didn't want to put together a 1 hour or almost 1.5 hour video. So splitting them up into two different videos. The first video that you saw before, if you saw before, and I most certainly appreciate any kind of support that you have, please like, comment, and subscribe. But again, in the first video, it was my commute to work, and FSD 14.3.4 handled everything amazingly. It was just a fantastic drive from beginning to end. Had real great time looking at the subtle differences that FSD presented. No issues whatsoever, no disengagements. It just kicked butt is what it did. I'm looking forward to the same thing here. We will not be taking the same roads back home. We're going to be taking some different roads. You're going to see some country roads as well on our commute back. But yeah, most certainly looking forward to this trip, how FSD handles different sections of the city driving, highway driving, and also a little bit of country driving. It'll be a scenic drive towards the end of the drive. So again, appreciate your viewership. What I will be doing as well, I will be attempting Mad Max in just a tad bit, seeing how it does. I'm going to go ahead and just engage that at this moment, see if there's any discernible difference in how we respond here. Right now we have a 31.3 mile streak. I'm hoping that is extended on our commute, unless I decide just to completely disengage and take over the wheel for any given reason, but I don't foresee that happening. We shouldn't come up against too much traffic. If I'm being completely honest, I think it'll be a relatively smooth drive. School's out for summer, of course, and that should open up the main roads for the most part. Yeah, we're going to come up against some traffic like you're seeing right here, but I don't think it'll be usually as heavy as it is during the regular, when school is in session. Noticing my windshield is a little bit dirty. I don't know how well or if it's even noticeable on the camera. But earlier, had gone out for lunch. I just cleaned the windshield pretty good. And then sure enough, I was behind a couple of big rigs that had, I don't know what they were transporting. It seemed like dirt or some sort of, powdery substance. And yeah, got my windshield dirty again. So let me go ahead and just give it a quick clean right here, see if that makes any sort of difference. The good thing is that we're going at pretty high speed, so this won't take any time in drying up. Good folks at Tesla, please come up with a solution for the windshield wipers in whatever iteration of vehicle we've had. With the exception of the Cybertruck, I really haven't had any kind of long-term experience, but in other vehicles, the wipers just don't cut it, especially on the Model Ys, especially on the Model 3s. They're just not doing a sufficient enough job of cleaning out the windshield. If I'm not mistaken, I saw an article on now the Tesla app indicating that the good folks at Tesla were working on some sort of laser windshield cleaning system that was actually previously patented I do believe maybe 2013 or during that time frame, right? 2013, 2015 sounds familiar. And it's been a long time, right? 10 years if that's the case. Somebody fact check me. I'll go ahead and fact check myself and put it up on the screen what year it actually was that they originally created or filed for a patent to do just that laser cleaning on the windshield. How that would work, I honestly have no idea. I need to go back, need to reference that. But that would be a different situation, a different solution that no automaker has even remotely attempted to do with their windshield. Interested to see what kind of innovation Tesla does in fact come out with to clean the windshield as opposed to what we have right now. It honestly just isn't cutting it. FSD was pretty good there as far as its assertiveness. Ended up getting out of the lane briefly, and then just to go around the traffic and proceed, it saw a sizable gap open ahead and decided to make that move. We will be turning not this block, but the next block. Here's where we come up against some traffic. If I was these two lanes, I was going to say if I was Mad Max, I would proceed into these two or next lane here, and you can. There are two lanes that are turning only lanes, and this lane immediately to the right, which will need to be getting into this lane either way, doesn't appear to have all that much traffic comparison to the lane that we're in. So anywho, I need to finish this Jolly Rancher. Man. I'm going to take a quick Jolly Rancher pause, quick snackaroo break. See? Why? Well, there we go. Why FSD isn't getting into this lane is beyond me. This next lane. Alrighty, so far FSD is doing pretty good. We're currently in Mad Max mode, but it just doesn't feel Mad Max-ish. I'm going to scale it back down in a hurry. We just simply don't have the real estate to be able to make any kind of noticeable differences, anything that would help in my commute home with Mad Max. At least not right now. We're not currently anywhere close to the highway. We will be soon. And when we get onto the highway, at that point, I'll go ahead and try Mad Max. Or maybe when we exit the highway, on the roads that we're going to be taking, country roads, rural roads that we'll be traveling down, I'll go ahead and engage Mad Max. There's going to be a lot of situations where a two-lane road merges to one lane, different spots along the way, and Mad Max should come in handy, but again, we'll figure out when we'll go ahead and engage Mad Max a little bit later on and how Mad Max responds to those different conditions. Oh, we have a situation here where we have some first responders off to the right, some police officers. They don't have their sirens on, but they do have their lights on. Mad Max is not engaged. FSD did not react to that situation, so that is a really good thing. The last thing that we would have wanted was for us to be pulling over to the side when we didn't need to, especially when those police officers were, again, just parked because there was a car accident. There was a wrecker off to the side at that apartment complex. Anywho, but yeah, that would have been a really bad situation if we would have pulled over for no good reason whenever the police officers were just stationary. The great thing is that their sirens weren't on, so it didn't hear the audio cue, and that in a sense was FSD's cue to say, hey, continue, just proceed as normal. We have some flashing yellow lights, no issues here, no problems. I've gone through some flashing yellow lights similar to that, but in country roads where FSD in prior iterations, I think FSD 14.3.4, if I'm not mistaken, just came to a screeching halt, and for no good reason, just wanted to stop at those flashing yellow lights. I'm really glad, pleasantly surprised that at least now in the situations that we've come against, not an issue. I was just going to say FSD isn't really taking any chances of getting in and out of lanes. And as I was going to say that, there was a vehicle. I thought we could have gotten into the left lane sooner. But just as I was going to make any sort of comment, that traffic on the left lane kind of came to a stop, a halt there, because a vehicle ended up turning to the left. So it just slowed everybody down. If we would have stayed in that lane, we wouldn't have had an opportunity to switch from one lane to another as we did just now. The only thing that was stopping us from proceeding at a bit of a more brisk pace is this Lexus here. Otherwise, I think we would have had some real estate to proceed. Maybe not. I don't know what vehicle is in front of this Lexus because it keeps braking, in my opinion, unnecessarily. So hopefully we're able to get out of this lane sometime soon. And again, this Lexus just needs to get the heck out of the way. Again, we're pretty close. We're about half a mile from the highway. Once we get on the highway, I have no doubt that FSD will shine and will put on a show for us here. All right, we're going to be merging onto the highway pretty soon. Let's see how FSD does. And I keep getting some pop-ups here. Plenty of room. Just get in the lane. Alrighty. See how assertive FSD is. Oh, fantastic. Excellent pickup right there. And it's still recognizing that the speed limit is, there we go, it switched. It was recognizing before 55 miles an hour, and I think that's what prompted that additional wording there, the phrase that increased monitoring attention based on the profile that was selected, which in this case is hurry. But again, I think it's all based on how fast the vehicle is going and the given speed limit at the time that FSD is engaged. That makes a world of a difference. So right now, because we're at 70 miles an hour and we're only proceeding 6 miles over, I don't think we would have gotten that message whatsoever. If the vehicle had noticed that the speed limit was in fact 70 and 55, I don't believe that we would have gotten any sort of notification, any sort of prompt there. It's going to be an interesting situation here. We have some traffic merging. Let's see if FSD decides to get in the left lane. It is not doing so, and that's okay. 60 miles an hour speed limit here. 65. We're going at 65. It's just a little tame for what I'm used to with hurry mode. Part of that is the fact that I don't even necessarily think it's an exit, or maybe it is going to be an exit that's going to be coming up about 1.5 miles down the road, but it may just have us proceed down Loop 1604, this highway here. Oh no, it might actually let me zoom out. Yep, it's going to go ahead and have us take an exit, so that's why we're moving along closer to exit lanes. The one thing that I would like to see, and again, we tested this in the morning, or we came up against this situation where we were just about 1 mile close to our exit, and FSD waited till that 1 mile, did not proceed to get on over to any lane from the far left lane to the far right lane for our exit up until the 1 mile mark. And I thought that was a sweet spot. Here, I'm not seeing anything particularly wrong with it. It proceeded over 1.5 miles to go. That was fine. didn't get over to the slowest lane, the exit lane, until a little over half a mile. So this is good. I'm appreciating whatever was built in. It seems like there was something done here as far as the programming, the stack used, and the general awareness to know that, hey, I'm not going to go ahead and wait till the last possible moment to scooch on over and try to get my exit. Here was just a perfect situation, no concerns with this whatsoever. Right here after this exit, we're going to have to proceed to the far right lane because there'll be an immediate turn. You see all of that red, shade of red there. That's all this traffic that we're coming up against. I would just scooch on over as soon as possible, and FSD did just that. So huge kudos to FSD. Then we have a vehicle up ahead that is attempting to get into the turning lane. It's just pretty much coming to a halt, seeing if anybody will let him in. But the problem with this lane here, it gets pretty backed up. The light takes what seems like an eternity to go ahead and go from red to green. Had a couple of vehicles behind me get a little fed up, a little frustrated, and proceeded to go around. And that's a horrible thing that happens here. People just get a little too greedy, getting off of the highway, immediately off of the highway, and then trying to ride the lane next to the turning lane as far as they possibly can in the hopes that they can just circumvent the long line and have somebody let them in. If I'm a betting man, somebody's going to do just that. As we're getting closer and closer to the light, I'm curious to see how FSD will respond to that, whether FSD will be incredibly courteous and let them in. I hope not, but again, FSD will handle it however it is it chooses to handle it. So here we go. If I'm a betting man, we got the Jeep here next to us. That might proceed. I'm also thinking that the Chevy Silverado will also attempt at the last moment to get into the lane. I'm hoping I'm wrong. We have less and less real estate here to see if that's going to come to pass. I doubt it will at this point. That Jeep is still worrying me for whatever reason. As far as efficiency, we're doing really great. 259 watts per mile. So a little under 4 miles per kilowatt. And if somebody out there could possibly educate me, or maybe I'll go back, fact check myself and educate myself. I could have sworn that this build of FSD or this software had the ability to go into the trip card and actually add one of these trip cards to the main screen over here, as it was in prior iterations of software. But ever since FSD 14.3.2, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't had the ability. The spring update brought us this update here. We haven't been able to get the trip cards added to the main menu over here. I can't just drag, select, and drag. It's not going to allow me to do that. Anyhow, but again, if anybody has been successful with that, maybe I'm just recalling it incorrectly. I'm maybe creating a fictitious memory in my mind that never ever existed. Let's see here. We've got some room to roam. We're not taking that. Let's go. There we go. Just as I was about to go ahead and switch the profiles to Mad Max, we scooched over to this lane. And here there is bright on red, right lane only. So we are in the lane to be able to make a right turn. There's quite a bit of traffic that's stopping this vehicle. Well, not the truck itself, but there is a Toyota Camry ahead of this truck, preventing that vehicle from making that turn. Or maybe it just doesn't see the signage that says right on red. right lane only. So again, any vehicles in this specific lane are able to make a right on red. That Camry is actively choosing not to make a right on red. And it also looks like there's a dedicated lane to be able to merge onto the main roads there. It's just waiting to the green light. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and kick it up to Mad Max for the rest of this trip. See how we do, how we fare. Not much hesitation there before we got into this lane, but it may have done a mistake there. This lane is just backed up. It's okay, at least to make that attempt. We want that assertiveness, right? We want a choice to be made when available rather than just sitting by, especially in this profile. That's what it's about, right? Taking those chances. We have open road on the right lane, but we have a vehicle coming up against our right side. That's why Mad Max isn't getting into that lane, as you can see in the visualization down below. Oh, there we go. We took the gap. It wasn't too big of a gap. I'm glad that we took it. Heck yeah. 55 miles is the speed limit here. We are getting up to speed 9-10 miles over. I mean, if I was FSD, if I was Mad Max, what I would do is I would just go ahead and blow past this F250, 350, get in my left lane as I'm approaching like this Dodge Ram. There it is. It did that. That's exactly what I would have done. Confidence is there. Reaction, pretty good. Coming up against the light here, we're going to slow down. See how quickly Mad Max profile slows us down. No issue with the regen braking. Fun times how traffic stacks up here. And for general awareness too, the vehicle behind us was a Honda Civic. As we slow down there and slow down there, I don't want to say abruptly, but just slow down there considerably. That vehicle had a difficult time. The Honda Civic behind us had a difficult time slowing down. Since then, we've kind of left it a little in the dust. Slowed down too much, too abruptly, that Honda Civic did, that it just prevented it from taking off a little quicker than it did. And here are the rolling hills, the hill country that you can see makes for a nice and enjoyable, peaceful commute home. I'll take this any day of the week. This has actually become my preferred route back home. And one thing that I did, I'm going to go ahead and edit. Thank God that I caught myself on time. Hopefully we're able to route appropriately. I had to select a pin home, right? And specifically routing us here to this area that's called Helotes, right? That way it would take me down these preferred roads. Otherwise, it would have picked up a different, actually gave me 2 to 3 different routes that were going through the city that I did not wish to take. So right now we're going down the exact path that I had intended. I'm going to leave that be. Just going to close that out. And again, we're currently in Mad Max profile. I'm not doing anything too crazy. I'm not seeing anything too out of the ordinary that wasn't present, wasn't prevalent in prior FSD iterations. Again, I've seen some posts out there from other folks that have had FSD 14.3.4 that Mad Max was, true to its form from initial iterations. but I'm not seeing that really here. But then again, I may not have the available real estate to have FSD feel like, hey, I'm going to cut in and out of lanes and I'm going to just drive like a bat out of heck. That's not happening here. We're being responsible, we're being safe, and that's what we want. All right, give me some speed, gosh darn it. Give me some speed. That's what we want with Mad Max profile. That Honda Civic is following a little close. Wanting to make a couple of moves here. By all means, let him try. It needs to scoot on over. It's just going 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit. Please scoot on over. Or pick up the pace. Any of those two options would be fantastic. Taking the second option, it's picking up pace. Thank you. Our current streak is 53 miles. We will not make it to the 100-mile mark, at least not on this session. But I am looking forward to hitting 100 miles and getting the confetti, the celebration that we have unlocked an achievement. This gamification of FSD. All right, there we go, Mad Max. I'll pick up speed and pass this Dodge Ram up. It's not going to do it. I'm almost positive it's not going to do it. Especially with these winding roads. I don't think there's a level of confidence for FSD just to be true to its form. We're about 2 miles from our exit, so I don't think that we're going to make any additional moves at this point. If that Dodge Ram turns where we're turning, I'm positive it'll have enough room, and I know exactly where it'll attempt to overtake it. Beautiful, beautiful evening. Nice blue skies, some fluffy clouds up there. Look at all this foliage. My word. It's lush, green, especially after some good rain that we've had. It almost feels like we're turning into Seattle with the amount of rain that we've had. Almost non-stop. Ain't that a thing of beauty, that site right there? That's why this route is worth the trip here. I'll be going just a tad bit out of our way, but worth it. And that's on a day like today, right, where there's hardly any traffic. There are 2 to 3 other routes that would get us home a little bit quicker. But during normal commutes, this is the fastest route home. But on any given day, again, this is just phenomenal. This is fantastic. "65 miles an hour is the speed limit." Sure do hope we have enough time to pass this Kia Forte up. But I don't know if Mad Max will want to do that. It's just really not not going as fast as I thought it would have gone. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to hurry, and with the idea that maybe hurry will somehow be a little more dynamic and be willing to get a little bit closer and take those chances, those opportunities of overtake when it has them coming up. Certainly not there because we merged from a 2-lane road to a 1-lane road. Apologies. It looks 100% it rained here, and there's just water on the road, and we're getting that splash from the tires in front of this vehicle in front of us. And again, I just cleaned the windshield. Ain't that a thing? Fantastic, and the auto wipers, they're not kicking in. And like nobody's proceeding, nobody's choosing to get out of the way here. We have one more opportunity to be able to pass this traffic up. Kick it up into Mad Max. I desperately want to pass these two vehicles up. Camera visibility limited. Fantastic. Telling us to take over. That's great. There goes our FSD streak. We weren't able to pass up this vehicle. There goes our streak. But at the very least, if we have another opportunity, which we most certainly won't, be able to pass up this vehicle. And just like that, our FSD streak was over. That was Mad Max, and it was just too incredibly tame for my liking. The one thing is, with this, after we've had disengagement, oh, that is fantastic. Okay, so check this out. This is a whole new ball game right here. We had a critical disengagement based on us merging. I guess also the visibility of the camera, the lack thereof visibility on the camera. So we had a critical disengagement. Once we have a critical disengagement, and we were driving, I was driving for a little while before I went ahead and proceeded to activate FSD again. So we had a critical disengagement. After we had the disengagement, a re-engagement of FSD, and guess what? Our FSD streak was maintained. I'm wondering if those folks that went from one side of Canada coast to coast ever use this kind of a disengagement. That would be a total cheat, and I'm going to admit it right here. My FSD streak is not legitimate. I disengaged. Yes, it was a critical situation. The disengagement occurred, but my FSD streak continued, and it should not have continued, in my personal opinion. But I'm happy all the same. I don't have to work up additional miles to get to that 100, potential 100 mile milestone. Want that celebration. Don't call me a cheat. Alright, go right ahead. It's fair to say. Oh, thank the good Lord. What are we doing here? Oh my God, there are 2 lanes that are just like merging here. I don't know who was actually in the incorrect lane, but there was like a turning only lane. Folks were off to the side. We were, for a brief moment, in that lane before we ended up, thank God for that vehicle proceeding off. And I'm sorry if you saw any kind of signs there. Just call them sign language. But we're about 6 miles away from home, aside from that critical disengagement, because we were just too close and approaching the merging of 2 lanes, from 2 lanes to 1 lane, along with FSD cameras being dirty, that caused that critical disengagement. But even though it had even though we had a critical disengagement right there, FSD put us in the safest possible spot. I don't know if the camera caught it. Of course, the camera caught like the red steering wheel, all of the beeps, but I don't know whether or not you were able to see, the audience able to see how quickly we came to a halt and allowed that vehicle next to us to proceed. That in itself was fantastic. That critical disengagement didn't feel like, I never felt like I was in harm's way, to be honest with you. FSD did its thing, slowed down considerably, and let us know, hey, take over, without really having come to a dead halt. So that I most certainly appreciate it. And we're still in Mad Max. It hasn't shown Mad Max colors, but nonetheless, I mean, we're still doing great here. Just a regular, boring old drive home, aside from that critical disengagement. And a few birds being flipped. 56 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone here. We got about 2 miles before we make our turn. Two vehicles up ahead, and that truck is carrying a few beds on its bed, the back of its bed, what have you. Anyway, it's hauling stuff, it's hauling furniture, and it's just making us go so incredibly slow. Dear gosh, 5 miles under the speed limit. Here is our turn. Please do not miss it. There we go. General fear and worry that some of the issues that has plagued FSD 14.3.4 may be present here, but nope, not an issue. We were able to make our turn. We're almost coming to the end of our trip here. I'll wrap it up in just a bit. Sometimes the most interesting things actually occur the closer you are to home. Hope that's not the case. Hope, again, it's just a safe commute home, but we shall see going through this residential section here. Oh, dear God, here we go. So I don't know if it's the sun or what it is, but we have our blinker to make a left. I'm going to let it go. The only reason I'm letting it go is because there's no traffic behind us, but we were in the wrong lane. We did not get into the left turning lane. Again, I got to believe it's the sun, but maybe it's just an issue that had been present in FSD 14.3.3. Sometimes it just misses. It just misses that turn. One thing that I've noticed in this drive, maybe our drive to work, our commute to work, and the first video, I noticed that FSD, when getting into a left turning lane, actively chose not to get into that lane until at least 100 feet. And I say 100 feet because the way that the roads are actually drawn, right? The signage, the streaks, I have no way of like appropriately like articulating it in the moment. The lines on the road, right? There's an indication there, at least at 100 feet, when vehicles can proceed and get into that lane, right? Into a turning lane as a matter of just safety. So 100 feet, it chose not to get into the lane until at least 100 feet. Here we have a family of 2, 4, 6. Mom and dad and their 4 kiddos, along with bicycles, dogs, everything. And FSD did a fantastic job here of getting around that, not having any issues with that. There was a vehicle that was darting out on the road, and FSD reacted based on the fact that its speed was proceeding. So we've actually come across a couple of different situations here that has put FSD to the test. And again, it's just that time of day when folks, families are out walking. Here's another family walking to the right. We're going a little, veering a little to the left to avoid them. Good reaction time. Seeing things that I definitely did not see because I was distracted looking away. And again, the sun may have impacted us a tad bit. in response time and reaction time, and choosing, hey, we're going to go ahead and be safe and just stop. Try to come to a little bit of a stop, go to veer to the left, veer in whatever direction we need to avoid a potential catastrophic situation. But that's it. Overall, I'm incredibly happy with FSD. We're parking forward here, and that's a-okay. Appreciate the viewership. If you made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll most certainly see you on the next one.